And guess who's back home? I'm back, y'all. I'm back in the States. I am so happy to be back. Not saying I didn't have a good time, but I'm so happy that I am back. Had a very nice week away. Was able to recharge, renew my mind. Um, Many of you may not know, but my birthday is next Monday. So this was really like an early birthday trip, very last minute, but early birthday trip, and just the time to do a lot of self reflection, right? And I think that's the problem that a lot of people have. They don't really have moments of self reflection. I do self reflecting quite often. Like it's part of the healing journey. However, when it comes down to like birthdays, I look at the whole year. What have I accomplished? What do I want to accomplish? Like what didn't happen? All of those good things. So, one thing that came up yesterday in my spirit, and I wrote about it, and it was kind of confirmed again this morning, because I think so often we don't look at it. Oops, we don't look at certain things from certain perspectives. So the whole concept of matching energy, I can't be the only person that does not care for people that have the mindset of I'm a match energy. I need people to know that matching energy is not a very healthy, especially from the perspective. So, if you are matching good energy, absolutely. But when people utilize that term, they're not talking about the good energy. They're talking about the shady energy. They're talking about the get back, right? And that's what I want to talk about. So no, I'm not talking about just the good, matching energy. Good morning, Paul. Happy Monday to you. All right. I'm talking about the matching of the energy that we don't want, right? And so I know that for me, one of the things that I had to realize, and I realized this maybe about eight, maybe about 7, 8 years ago. When I match energy, I take it too far, right? I'm one of those people. And it took me a very long time to realize that. Like, you can't do what other people do because your extreme is like extreme, right? If y'all know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. And so that becomes very dangerous because we match this energy and we carry this, especially in connection. So within your family, your friend group, at work, relationships, like that's not gonna help with the foundation of whatever you're trying to build on. And so that's something that I had to really get to a space and saying, like, you cannot afford to do this because there's a very high chance you're going to hurt someone. And, the old Tanisha, the unhealed Tanisha, she didn't care. Like, I'm gonna be 100. But the healing Tanisha, because again, this is the journey. I'm not healed, we're healing. The healing Tanisha is very more mindful. Like, look, you know, you can't take things back, right? And it's not going to continue to progress forward in a positive manner. So that's the reason why I had to choose to do that. I had to start making those intentional decisions because some people are just not aware, right? And then some people are aware because I wrote this on Threads, and there were people chiming in and they were like, oh my gosh, I'm working on the same thing. So I know this is something that spiritually is kind of being sprinkled amongst people because so many people are like getting to a space where they're getting tired. Like, that is a very heavy energy to carry, right? I know for me, when I think back to the way I used to handle situations, going from 0 to 100 in 2.2 seconds, that's not healthy for anyone. It's not, right? And you end up carrying this. So when people carry the pettiness, like, I don't want to carry none of that. None of that is appealing to me. None of that is attractive. I don't have a desire to go backwards. And that's the reason why anytime that I find myself in any environment that kind of like pulls and tugs, yes, I can control that. However, when you're intentionally staying in a triggering environment, that you have a choice to leave, right? It's a difference if you can't leave, but if you have a choice to leave, you need to remove yourself, right? Happened to me yesterday when I went to Lowe's, right? So I don't know what happened, y'all, right? I've been here for not even 2 years yet. November be 2 years. I bought a washing machine 2 years ago, right? And it's not working. But I mean, it's an easy fix. But the warranty company, I guess, the people that was gonna repair it, they didn't have the parts. So I guess whatever the contract is that they have, if it's not completed within a certain time frame, they pretty much, it's like what they do with cars. They will total it out, and they will give you the balance, like whatever is worth for the face value. So Lowe's did that. So I said, you know what? Let me go into Lowe's. I'm trying to get into the space of supporting my local stores. When you go into the store, they get that particular credit. You get to engage with the different customers and to get the different associates. So I tried to do that yesterday. And the energy that I experienced, it was like, I can either stay here and let this experience happen to me, because what happened was the sales associate was extremely rude to the couple in front of me. So they're asking her simple, relevant questions about washing and dryers, right? Gas, is it, electric? They're asking her all of these different questions, and she is screaming at these people. She is so annoyed. And I was just like, as I'm observing this, right? This is where the whole, I can stay and I can match that energy. Because I wasn't in the space to even be like, I'm gonna go above. No, I'm gonna match this energy today. Or I'm gonna pack this up and I'm gonna go home. And I packed it up and I went to the supermarket and I did my food shopping instead of staying there and engaging with this unhealthy match energy, right? It was too early on a Sunday morning. Why are you so angry at 10 o'clock in the morning? Like, please. But I tell people all the time, this is why I said, like, you have the choice to stay in certain environments, especially if like, I didn't have that much, I had some coffee. I didn't have much of a breakfast. I was a little hangry. So I also had to check myself and be like, look, girl, this is also the reason why, because you are going to come in with this, you're going to match hers, and you're going to go far. And that's all I could think was how far I can take this. And I didn't want that. So I want people to get into this space of making sure that, when you identify something, if you can stay, if you have to stay, what does staying look like for you? And if you have the choice to leave, what does leaving look like for you, right? And I want you to exercise those because it's in your right. This is where we're going to see growth, right? You have choices. I had a choice. And so often we don't utilize those choices. And I want us to get into a space of choosing healthier choices, because this is going to be a part of the rest of your life, right? You're always going to have opportunities where we can go the wrong way, or we can say, you know what? I got a choice and I can go the right way and I don't have to stay here, or I don't have to match that. Okay. So I think so many times it's like, we don't realize this, and then again, this continues to get confirmed, because as I was thinking this morning, I was on Threads. I was up early this morning, like 4 o'clock this morning, and 4 o'clock Central Time, and I'm there and I'm seeing this conversation. So a gentleman, he, under the dating threads, I know I stay under dating threads because that's my space. And a gentleman had posted, like, he's dating a woman. She got out of a 16-year relationship. And that 16-year relationship, she basically was the man and the woman. Like, she was handling everything in the relationship, leading the relationship. And now she's in this new situation with this gentleman. And she doesn't know how to maneuver. Like, she doesn't know how to deal with this. She doesn't know how to stand and just being a woman, being in her feminine space, being as soft, and allowing herself to be led. And so he's like, is this something that can change? And so I commented and I said, it's possible to change, right? It's absolutely possible. However, she has to be the one to initiate that. Because what she's doing is she's carrying that energy from that previous relationship, into this new, right? And unfortunately, and she's gonna self sabotage at the end of the day if she doesn't get a handle of it now. Um, and it, and I often say, it's not the person's responsibility, the person that you're with, it's not their responsibility to help you do that, right? No, let me correct myself. It's not their responsibility to get you started. They can help you, right? And so he was like, well, how can I help her? And I was like, well, you can, y'all gotta work on trust, right? And I'm talking about I gave my own personal experience. You guys may not know, but I am exclusively dating someone. I know, right? And that is a conversation that comes up because you guys see me, right? I'm out here, I'm doing my thing. To the world, I'm Miss Independent. I'm not independent. I don't want to be independent. I want to lean and I want to be like, oh, you can do that, right? Looking for her. She's like, yes. I'm trying to keep under wraps, but it's like I'm feeling safe to be able to share, small pieces. But I had to I'm learning how to allow this man, to lead, right? I don't have all the answers, right? And I remember like 3 weeks ago, he said something. He said something, and immediately my response was questions. But why? And it was like he was like, and this he was like, this is where I want you to be like, okay, babe, okay. He was like, so, and over the weekend, because I was away, so I was like, he's asking questions, and I'm like, at first I'm like, why? And then it was just like, okay, cool, that works. Because I trust him. I trust him to lead. I don't have to know every detail, because an independent person, a woman that has never been in that space, we have to know all those details, right? So that's why when I see certain posts online, and women are like, I can't believe he called me, and this is true. Like, I've seen them write this, and I've seen TikToks. He gonna tell me to pack a bag and be ready at 8 o'clock because we going on a road trip. Who do he think he is? And I'm just like, stop. You're about to self-sabotage, right? Because you want to know all the details. And that comes with, because we're so accustomed, right? So we're in these past relationships, right? They're being passive aggressive, I'm being passive aggressive, we're matching energy, right? They're not doing what I want them to do as far as leading, and so I'm matching energy. And so now we're trying to carry this into a brand new season with a brand new person, and you're trying to do that, and he's not even giving off that energy. So this is where I say it gets dangerous, because we're carrying those same mindsets into this new, and you're doing something that's not even, so you're not even able to identify this brand new energy that you should be mirroring it, right? Because it's a good energy. So you're trying to come, and you're coming with the aggression, you're coming with the passive aggressive, and it's just like, baby, you got to relax. You have to relax. You have to be okay. Same thing with, have you ever been to an unhealthy job and you leave that unhealthy job, and then you go to a new job and you start becoming suspicious about everything because of what you experience? It's the same exact thing. We are not addressing these things in any aspects of our lives. We're carrying it. We're carrying it to the new, right? When I had left the crazy place that I worked at in 2015, and when because I went into contract work for a while. And then when I went in 2018, I'm still carrying, because it was, I had a woman leader. So I'm going to a new organization. They had a woman leader. And I'm like, oh, I know how these people, and then I had to stop myself, right? No. I can't forget what she did in 2015 and why I left. But I can't sit here and immediately walk into this, right? Yes, and we want to mirror that good energy. Paula said, I forgot to take my mouse out. It's easier to mirror energy than match it, right? And we want to do that, right? Let me tell y'all, and this is just me being honest, I love the energy, the space that I'm in with this person, because I'm able to just like, you watch these movies and they're like, "Hmm," and she just leans into him so gracefully. I'm able to now do that. I was never able to do that before, right? Happy Monday, Bola. Happy Monday. I was never able to do that previously. Never in any, let me not say never. One time. One time I probably did trust someone for like 5.5 seconds and was able to, but like this is the space where I'm like, I feel the trust, right? They trust me, so we're able to mirror that. And it's such a good feeling. It's a healthy feeling, you know. Paula, stop it. See, that's why I want to talk about it, because y'all be up here. And you know what's so funny, Paula? And I'm gonna be so honest, right? Whenever I see him, because he always laughs, right? He always laughs. He always has me cracking up. We have our little inside jokes, but one of the things he always says is that he was like, I already know when I see you, like your cheeks just get so red. He was like, I just love the cheeks, and I'm just like, stop it. He was like, no, but that's a feeling like I don't think I've ever had that before, where I'm just like excited, right? I am Bola. I'm definitely Bola. I'm definitely leaning into it, and I do know, right? And I do know I deserve it, right? I do, and that's something that I think that's what I want, So when I read this guy's post this morning, I'm trying to give him some reassurance as a man who's dealing with this woman who's mirroring the things that I used to do, and I'm like, you got to give her grace, but don't don't give grace to the point where you're being abused, because that happens. um I was like, but again, you can gently tap, like, hey babe, maybe you want to talk to someone, right? Because you see it. I said that can go either way. Now I'm gonna be honest, some people, they hear the word therapy, they hear the word talk to someone, they get very defensive. So we don't know enough to know, what stage she's in as far as her healing. I said, but it is possible for her to get into that space of trusting you. I said, and the only thing that you can do is continue to show her that you are a man that she can trust. I said, and that's going to look different for every single person, right? I know for me, one of the things that I'm learning is I don't have all I have to do is just put it out there, right? Um, so example, I have a I got a TV from someone in Tulsa Remote, and I wanted to put it up in my laundry room because that's like my fake gym. So I was just like, oh, I want to mount a TV in my laundry room. That's all I had to say, and it was just like, okay, I'll bring this, I'll bring shot, and I'm just like, wow, I don't have to ask twice. Like I basically didn't have to ask. I just put out the problem, right? And it's just like that's something that I had to get accustomed to, because I grew up where, and I hate to say it, but my godfather, when he died, I remember being at his funeral, and I was like, well, I guess I'll never learn how to ride a bike, because my godfather, Doran, God rest his soul, told me every summer, baby girl, this is the summer, I'm going to teach you how to ride that bike. And Doran passed away when I was in sixth grade, and I never learned how to ride a bike. Never. Right? But I carry those kind of things. Right? Because it's like I was promised. Someone told me that they was gonna do something, but they never did it. So now it's like I'm carrying that. So now to have somebody who's coming in and they're like, yeah, okay, not a problem. Say less. I got the supplies, or let's go get the supplies and let's go get it done. And it's just like, wow. So I said that to this gentleman, like, so you have to figure out where her areas of her life that she doesn't trust you, or that she doesn't trust people, and then y'all can work through that, and hopefully, again, we don't know where she is in her healing journey, if she has even activated that. But I pray, but I helped him to get at least some clarity of like, these are things that can happen, but it's gonna take time, and she stayed for 16 years with somebody that didn't help and didn't contribute, and she carried that relationship as the man and the masculine and feminine. Let me say man and woman because she's not a man, but she carried the heavy load. And so, I think that's something that a lot of us, we really just have to start thinking about, like, where do I have to, the areas of the growth, is it in love, is it in work, business, friendships, relationships, your relationship with yourself, your relationship with God. Like, we have so much that we have to really do, and it should start from us, right? Everyone else is, and that's something that he says to me quite often. I can't control what he said to me a couple of weeks ago, like when we first started talking. He was like, I can't change your thinking, right? He said, I can do my part as far as showing you who I am, but I can't change that. So there are some people, they could be seeing, they could see everything. They could have a leader, they could have a provider, they could have someone just giving them money. Until they change this, until they stop thinking about the past, until they stop carrying that, it's going to be very difficult for them to do that. Oh my gosh, I wanted to share y'all tomorrow. I'm going to share with y'all. So yeah, I know I do like these influencer marketing things online where I get paid to promote different products. And I try to find products that are in alignment to my life, to my brand. So I don't just, like, you're not gonna see me out here with like random, what would be a random thing? Something that doesn't apply to me at all. Like, it wouldn't be like something with wrestling. Like, I think that's probably the craziest thing I've seen. Like, there's like a wrestling apparel that they wanted you to promote. I would never do that. But these dating cards. So it's four decks. Tomorrow I'm gonna put it in. I'm gonna put it in the comments for anyone who's watching it, so you can go ahead and order it. But we did this a couple of weeks ago. We took one of the deck of cards and we got like a deeper connection with one another. And one of the questions that came up in that deck was, what's an area that you are carrying baggage, and what are you doing to release that baggage before it becomes an issue in the new relationship that you're in? And I love that question because he was able to, one, I would have been concerned that he was like, I have no baggage, right? And I would have been concerned about that. But he was able to really like just identify. And I love those kind of questions because there's also a deck called self reflection, excuse me, where in my season of single, before I was really dating, I started to use those cards to kind of get those self-reflection going. So you have like every stage. So you have the self-reflection while you are totally single, you're still trying to get it together, you're in the healing process, you might be going out to events, you might be encountering people, but you have those. Then you have like the cards of like, we just starting to get to know one another. This might be, maybe after 2 days, you might want to ask a few questions. So there's like 4 different decks. So we did the deeper connection, and there's one more deck that we need to do. That's like, that would be further into the, as the relationship progresses. And I just love those cards. So I'm going to share that and I'm going to show you what that looks like. But I found it on Amazon. It was like $24, but you get 4 decks of cards in one. And it's like a regular deck as if you was like, playing spades or whatever the card game. I don't play card games, but you know what I'm talking about, right? So that's something that I want us to think about. But yeah, so I wanted to share that. Like I said, between the matching and the energy, bringing the wrong energy into the new, mirroring the wrong energies. We want to mirror the good stuff, right? We want to match the good, positive. If they're giving you love, we want to match that with love. And they're showing you, trust and ways that you can trust them. Find a way to glean into that. Because if we really want these things to work, and again, this is not just about relationships, because again, I've been in jobs where if I never did some healing, I would never have seen the good in those positions, and I would have just like kind of carried the miserable, disgruntled employer, and employee, and I didn't want to carry that as well. So I've just wanted to share that, right? That we got to get out this space, and we got to find those areas of growth that we really want. And as always, I know I have a prompt for y'all. So, where in your life are you still matching energy instead of leading with your own? Where in your life? And everyone, like I said, we are all on different spectrums and phases of our lives. Excuse me, we're on all different aspects of our lives. So everyone is going to have a different space and a place. And I just want you to figure out for yourself, what does that look like? Where do I know? Like for me, this is going to be it's going to be an ongoing process for me, right? The more that I am experiencing new, and we'll talk about this again tomorrow, because this is something that, and I started touching on this a couple of months ago, where it's like everyone is just talking about healing, right? Just heal, heal, heal. But then it's like, how do we navigate in becoming this new person? How do we, because again, some people, this is their first time experiencing this, right? This is their first, like I said, this is my first time experiencing this type of relationship with someone where I'm not sitting in my head. I'm not overthinking. I'm not creating narratives all day. If there is silence, I don't get agitated by those silence. We're gonna talk about this more tomorrow because I know, like, I kind of touched on it over the couple of months, but yes, exactly, Bola, right? Who are you becoming? And that's the part that I think a lot of people are missing, right? And then ironically, because someone had posted, they went to a Christian singles conference this weekend, and he said, of course, on top of the fact that there were 120 women and 15 men, he said, but what he noticed was that 90% of the agenda was about marriage, and he was like 10% was about um 10% of it was about singles. And he was like, how is this a singles event and you're not talking to the singles? He was like, you're just talking about marry, marry, marry. He was like, we're not there yet. And that's where I feel like, and this might just be God, because again, that might be where I have to fill in help, because yeah, what do we, okay, Paula, please definitely let me know. Tag me. Um my name is Tanisha Shanae on LinkedIn. So tag me. I will definitely love to read that blog post when you have it, or you can send it to me. We would definitely love to share that and support you as well, right? And leadership is an energy. Girl, it's an energy. And it's a great energy. When you're in the right energy, it's an amazing feeling. And I love that feeling, right? That's something that I have comfort in. And knowing like, no, I really, and it's, because it's crazy because he's currently on crutches. And some people will be like, he's physically in, no, he's still a leader. He can still lead. He's not disabled. I think that's where we have to unlearn a lot of those narratives, but we'll talk about this tomorrow. So you and Bola done gave me a lot of, right? So as you're healing, who are you becoming, right? So we're going to talk about this tomorrow, because this is very important, right? Very, very important. But I love you guys. Thank you for engaging. Bola, Paula, you guys, you guys make me happy. And I know someone else is following and watching. I love you too. Thank you for being here. But go ahead, hit my link tree. You can check out my books. You can look at my community. I do have a new blog post that I'm about to post this week, so look out for that. It's going to be the self-reflecting of my last week of my 40th year. Right, next week Monday is my birthday, so this is the last week. So I'm doing a lot of reflecting, a lot of gratitude that I'm going through and just experiencing. And this is one space that I'm so thankful for. You all, everyone who comes and who tunes in to Inspiration with Friends, whether it's live, whether it's on the replay, you hit the like button, you drop a comment, or you just share. I appreciate all of you. And you guys just make it 10 times easier to just keep showing up every single day. So make sure you're back here tomorrow, and we're going to talk about the healing part of becoming that person, and how it's been helping me. And hopefully some of these tips can help you as well. So I am your girl, Tanisha Shanae, Miss Inspiration. Have an amazing day on purpose, with purpose. Talk to you soon.